Well, we're doing our tribute and salute to Earl Scruggs today, and this worked out wonderful. We have a very special guest this morning talking about Vince Gill. First, let's welcome Vince on the Big Show. Good morning, Vince.
Hello, lads. How are you?
Hey, doing good, man. Thanks for joining us this morning. We're talking about you returning to MerleFest this year. You were at the very first one in 1988, returned in 89. Last time you took part in the festival was 04, and everybody's just tickled to death that you will be there again this year, April the 26th through the 29th. Same place has been for the last 25 years, Wilkes Community College in North Carolina. And Vince, we'll talk about that in a second. But first, I want to just talk to you about the late great Earl Scruggs. You were one that performed at his remembrance in Nashville a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he was something, man. You look back at what he really did, and it's pretty mind-boggling. And it dawned on me at Earl's funeral that the very first thing I ever heard myself do on a radio station, I was in Oklahoma City, and I'd made a record, my first record with the local band I was in. And the very first time I ever heard myself on the radio was there. But what dawned on me is it wasn't, I always equated it to the song that I sang, but it was me playing the banjo.
Wow.
So it hit me like a ton of bricks, you know. I said, my goodness. I said, it was really the banjo. It was the first thing I ever heard. So I played the intro and whatnot before the singing started, and it meant a lot to me because I teased that my late father, cussed Earl Scruggs his whole life. Because he tried to learn to play the banjo, and he could never figure out that three fingers roll. But I heard Earl, you son, or whatever. it was sweet. I got to tell Earl that story. We were great friends, and right now I'm in my house. I'm looking at a Grammy that I won with Earl. And,
wow.
And just, there wasn't a better guy in the world. Great Carolina man, and he had a wicked sense of humor. If anybody ever got to know him, he looked real quiet, real unassuming, but, man, he had a vicious sense of humor. They told a story on him at the funeral that he was doing a record for somebody, and they came in and said, well, we're looking for Earl Scruggs. And Earl said, well, if I see him, I'll tell him you're looking for him.
Oh, man. I'll tell you. Well, Vince, is there any way you can explain to our listeners about what the difference, the claw hammer and then the three fingers, and nobody had done that before Earl?
No, I know it. And the interesting thing about it, what it did, I think Monroe gets the lion's share of the credit for bluegrass, and that's true, his singing his songs and all that, but it was Earl's banjo, the sound of what Earl figured out how to do that made that music drive, and it made that music just, you cannot not be affected by hearing the way he played for the first time in your life. That you just go, what is that? Mm-hmm. And, it really, what it did is it defined bluegrass. Because Monroe had done a lot of things before that, singing with his brother, and it was, kind of bluesy and of the day, and then Earl came along and put that banjo to it, and it was all of a sudden something brand new was born,
We've been playing cuts off Earl's last studio album. We had him in the studio back in 2001 with Earl Scruggs and Friends, and you just look at his Friends that was on that album. We've been going through that now, and just wow, from Elton John to Melissa Etheridge to you. People you're on that album.
Yeah, people you would think would have no connection to Earl at all, and they were influenced by him in their own way, which is such an amazing tribute to the kind of guy he was.
I think so too, and plus the thing about Earl was the authenticity of what it was that he did. That's what people responded to. Here's something that is really rare, really treasured, and really one of a kind. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, and until he did that, he defined a brand new way to play the banjo, and it'll last forever. And that's pretty heady. Yeah. He had an open mind. That's what I loved about Earl Scruggs, was he had a really open mind musically. He was not, a lot of times people can get into the thing that they love. Say they love traditional country music. My God, if it's not traditional, I don't want to hear it. And Earl was not that way. He was the total opposite. He was really open-minded and playing with his sons. That was the greatest joy of his life, I think, was getting to travel around and go, wow, Bob Dylan loves me. And all these different people want to come and hang out with us. And all attributed to me, a real musician's heart is open-minded. They can appreciate anything that's done well.
Yeah, guys that really are unique and set themselves apart are guys that have influences that are all over the map, it seems like.
Yeah, I hope so, I wouldn't want to do one thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Vincent, we're talking about you returning to MerleFest. And last time you played at the festival was 2004, and while you were there, you took part in a special Earl Scruggs birthday set with Doc Watson, you and Earl Scruggs on stage, man.
Yeah, I love Doc Watson. Hands down, he's the guy that inspired me to really learn to flat pick a guitar. In that way of playing those great old fiddle tunes and flat picking and Deep River Blues and Way Downtown and all those things that he once again, here's somebody that, in a sense, created a new way to play the guitar. And he inspired a lot of young guys like me, and that's where flat picking, that term or whatever it is, really took root, is with Doc. And we used to play festivals together when I was, 17, 18 years old, and anytime I got to be around him and hear him play, it was a treat, and I knew Merle, and in fact, when Merle was killed, I was approached by Doc's folks and said, would you have any interest in coming out and traveling and with Merle, with Doc? And I said, man, thrill of a lifetime, but I can't. I just got too many other irons in the fire and what I'm trying to accomplish, and it meant the world to me that Doc thought enough of me to even consider me for that place.
Well, a lot of our listeners around the Carolinas, Virginia, know about MerleFest. They look forward to it every year, and would like to tell our listeners across the country, you make plans to be here. April 26th through the 29th, Wilkes Community College. And in those 4 days, over 90 performers will play on 14 stages throughout the festival site.
And all kinds of music, too. I mean, there's rock music, there's Zydeco, there's Celtic, blues, a little bit of everything.
Ain't that the way it should be?
Yeah.
You know what? When you get invited to MerleFest, your hip factor goes way up.
Well, this is a great place for the family. It is both alcohol and tobacco-free. Great bargain. Children under 12 getting free with a paid adult, and a parking and shuttle service available. Over 4,000 volunteers make MerleFest 25 happen, man. Is so cool. And y'all can go. The website is merlefest.org, MERLEFEST, merlefest.org. And you see the lineup, including Vince Gill, Marty Stewart, Allison Krause, Union Station, featuring our old buddy, the master of the dobro, Jerry Douglas.
Yeah, buddy.
And Los Lobos, man, it's just check out all the talent that's going to be there. And I know you're excited about going back, Vince.
Oh, I am. And you mentioned Jerry. I've known Jerry since I was a teenager. We used to be in a band together when we were both 18 years old.
I tell you what, man, you what an incredible musician you are, buddy, too. I mean, it's really just amazing. I guess you've been doing it long enough. You ought to be good by now. Huh?
Well, I appreciate it. I think I got lucky because I knew all the dirty jokes and could sing a little bit.
There you go. That's what you got to have.
All right. Well, Vince, thank you so much for taking time with us. It's very special that we get your memories of Earl on this day that we're paying tribute to him, too, buddy.
Well, he was like a father to me. Y'all take care.
All right. Thank you very much. Vince Gill